Has Axe found his match in business and love? Can Taylor navigate both Axe and Grigor? Is Chuck ready to serve the public again? And has Wendy become too much man and not enough woman? We'll discuss this and more in Season 4, Episode 2 of AfterBuzz TV's Billions After Show entitled The Arousal Template.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, fans of Billions. Kevin Undercover here, subbing in tonight for Nadine Delapello. Nadine is off on a Billions assignment, and we are definitely lost without her because this show, if you are a fan, is so rich. There are so many scenes. There are so many small details, so many nuances to pick up. It's a really, really hard show to cover. But myself and Regina Coles, we're going to do our best to hang in for you to get everything out that we can. And we even have a super fan on the phone, Mike August, who I've asked to join us. Mike is someone who's contributed to AfterBuzz, I don't know, Mike, for about 9 years now. You helped me all through Breaking Bad and Talking Dead and Walking Dead and so many other shows. Do we have Mike on the phone, Josh? We don't. Okay.
Yes, we do.
Listen, Regina,
yeah,
back to you. All right, what is your initial thoughts, Regina, on the show?
Oh my gosh, it was so much to absorb today. It was all over the place.
Yeah,
Chuck, Bobby, Taylor.
And have you watched this from season 1, Regina, or did you come into and binge this late?
I watched it from season 1, but of course, when you're on an AfterBuzz panel, I mean, you got to really be a stickler for those details and get down into it.
It's tough, you know, with this show because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of different characters. Even the title, the Arousal Template.
Yes.
Have you ever heard that term before?
Yes, I have.
Really?
Yes, psychological, you know.
Okay, good. Regina, you're better than me. Listen, for anyone who doesn't know, according to Patrick Carnes, PhD, author of Facing the Shadow, an arousal template consists of the total constellation of thoughts, images, behaviors, sounds, smells, sights, fantasies, and objects that arouse us sexually. This was the title of the episode.
With that title,
I think everybody. Well, mainly Chuck. Well, it comes up with Chuck, and we'll talk about that later.
True.
But I think it really refers to everybody. What's going on? I thought tonight's episode, what I saw mainly was, I feel like the roles of men and women are so heavily questioned.
I think so.
Right.
You're right.
Just and I think it came out the most in Wendy. And I think it's right that it does because she seems like she's the most evolved.
Yeah.
So she's the most aware, and we'll get into it when we talk about Wendy when she sits with Bonnie. But I feel like a lot of this tonight was, the roles of men and women in business, and sometimes how women have to assume the traits of a man to do business. And
in today's world, especially.
Right. Well, I think forever they had to fit in, and I think, but I feel like with Bonnie, where just when we get it, not with Bonnie, we see that she's adapted the ways of the male. And I think when we talk a little later about Rebecca, which is a new character that I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of. I think that she's maintaining some of the feminine values in her road to success. But we'll talk about that when she has her battle with Chuck. Is Mike out there yet, Josh, or no? Mike, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. All right, Mike, what did you think? What were your initial thoughts for tonight's episode?
I thought it was a great episode as usual. We got both sides here. We got Axe. Let's see.
You're looking through all your notes, Mike. I know. Like I have a novella. All right, listen. Let's start with Team Axe and the robot demo.
Oh, that was interesting.
So we have a dog robot that's a fail according to the good people down at Patriot Trust Bank. Kind of a little, I think a little zing to Team Trump with the Patriot Trust Bank. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And we've got this other like super robot that comes in. It was interesting because the one had. The dog couldn't open the door, but the big one could walk through and smash the door open.
Like iRobot.
Yes. And I feel like that was a little bit of a metaphor for the Grigor. Grigor later on says brute force. And again, the way males do things.
Yeah.
They smash their way through.
Oh.
And it's the female comes in and
toys,
says,
right?
Well, they like their toys, but also brute force.
Yes.
That's kind of the male way.
Yes.
And it took the woman to come in the room and go, let's just drop some pens. But it was interesting. Did you see the reaction of everyone in the room when Rebecca, this new character, comes in? So did you notice the guys from Patriot Trust Bank? So first she started speaking, and they were like, well, you know what? That's okay, sweetie pie.
We need to hear from you.
Yeah, you probably didn't get you probably didn't read over the specs. You probably didn't, and it's okay. And Wags even buys in.
Yeah.
Wags is like, oh God, yeah.
Nice looking.
Yeah. He's like, well, it's so great lines. Like, this is what money looks like. This is
But she proved him wrong.
But then it was Axe who says, no. Shh, quiet, Wags, watch this. And then she, of course, completely undresses them and knows the product down and exposes them in a different way. So we know that, okay, this is somebody that I feel like we're going to have the feminine version of Axe and whatever that looks like.
She knows her stuff.
She does.
She's a smart lady.
But she does business in a different way.
Because
when they ended up talking about, the takedown of the rival janitor company.
Yes.
She was like, I would have, yes, I was aware of their practices, and they were basically kicking ass, but I would have bled them out, and in time, I would have used honest, ethical business practices to have taken them down.
Right.
And again, the more male way, brute force. No, but look what I did. I went in and broke them down anyway.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see I think the male and female dynamic in business. Mike, were you picking that up too?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. I felt like this was the fingerprint all over this episode, and of course, it's going to come out. Especially came to light with Wendy and Bonnie, but again, I would expect it out of Wendy because she's the most evolved. It feels like. Maybe outside of business, but in terms of psychology.
Yeah.
And she's so aware, but. In that scene, that opening scene, we also get to know a little bit about the Patriot Bank people, and we see, of course, what's his name? Axe moves right in. He knows this guy is kind of a clown, kind of weak, and he's like, "I'll invest in your lame thing, but I need a favor from you." And this leads to a montage where he's basically buying off all the bank people.
Right.
So Taylor to not be able to do any business. Right. But here's the rub. The rub on this is that it's based on revenge. And we talked about this last week. So how, and when we have a funny meeting between Axe and Wendy and Ari and Wags, they all kind of say, well, listen, if the word's going to get out that you're spending tons of money just to hurt Taylor.
And that's not going to look good.
Right. So how do you, how do you succeed that way?
Exactly.
And when you talk about what was later, the Zugzwang is brought up later with Taylor, German for compulsion to move. It's a situation found in chess and other games wherein one player is put at a disadvantage because they must make a move when they would prefer to pass or not move. The fact that the player is compelled to move means that their position will become significantly weaker. A player is said to be in Zugzwang when any possible move will worsen their position.
Right.
So it's interesting, again, symbolically, I think as this episode plays out, I see a lot of our main characters making these moves. They're forced to make these moves, but it's actually making them weaker. And I think Taylor came out stronger this episode.
I was going to say that. I think she really strengthened her position.
Right.
Because her number one goal was to have her own leverage.
Right. And she hasn't had it.
She did not want Grigor to put the money behind her and therefore control her.
Well, he's so scary. I mean, we'll get into that whole thing and how it broke down later.
Yeah.
But it's this slippery slope of going for revenge. And I know one of the people in our comment section last week had said, there's a saying about revenge: you dig two graves, one for you, right?
You dig one grave, dig two.
Right.
One for yourself.
One for yourself. So, and that's where I hope it's not going this way. And by the way, I want to tease that later we are going to have news. Regina brought us news. We have Billions up-to-the-date news.
Yes, a lot of news.
And then we have the millennial translator, of course, because there was just so many different references.
Juicy stuff today. Oh my God.
By the way, so when a lot of this stuff, these references come out, Regina, are you grabbing them?
Yes.
Or are they too dude-like?
No, you know what? You got to stay with the times, right, Kevin? I'm like, oh my God. Let me write this down so I can use it myself.
Well,
maybe.
a lot of this stuff, you know, RoboCop, you remember, and things like that. But we'll get into it. But it's funny. I bet you the writing staff on this show is very diverse in age, right? Because I feel like Koppelman, he's an older guy, middle aged, but I feel like there's younger people on this show.
But you know, it's a flip side to that, because whereas we have to learn about the millennial side of things, they have to learn about our side of things too. So
yes,
I think it can be like a very interesting exchange.
You know, talking about the the millennial versus business practice, I thought we saw it with. And I'll skip over to Team Taylor between Maffei and Rudy.
Oh, yeah.
So we see Maffei meets with Rudy, who was fired last week.
Right.
And Rudy's asking him for a job. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Maffei's like, hey, this is the first time I've even left the office. And he's ordering a pizza. And, you know, Maffei's still in that kind of worker mode, but not a leader, executive mode.
Not the boss yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sure, I guess if you want a job.
Yeah.
And then when he meets with Taylor, and it seems like on the surface, she's like, listen, he's a clown. Why would we want him? But if you want him,
put your neck on the line for him.
Basically, yes, that's what she said. But she didn't say it like that. She said it more in millennial terms.
Yes.
In a positive way.
Yeah.
So if you want to take responsibility and you want him under your wing where you think you can bring him up, go for it. You're in position of power now. And I thought that was what an interesting way of managing.
But he knows Taylor's style. And so if it doesn't work out, because he knows Taylor is not a fan of Rudy's, then
and she's not one, and she's usually not one to be emotional.
No pun intended.
And she's too good at what she does. So she's going to go, okay, well, then it's going to be on you.
The axe is going to fall.
But I like the way she said it. She said it in a positive way, and I feel like that is millennial speak. Whereas I feel like the old guard would say, you want to hire that bozo? Well, first of all, you're not. Either they won't give you the power, empower you as a lieutenant, or they'll say, hire him, but it's your ass. So it's a different way of doing it. But it was interesting. And then he came to the realization himself. So I think this was a big arcing point for Maffei.
He grew up a bit. Right. He put on his executive pants and said, okay.
And now he's now I think that this is somebody who's, I think Taylor now has somebody much more capable in her army now.
Yeah. And, you know, Rudy felt he was a bit condescending to him. He said, oh, you think you're better than me now.
Well, because, you see, he went personal.
Yeah.
But he was saying, like, personally, I would have played, not Dungeons & Dragons, I forget the other game that he mentioned. What was it? Mike, do you remember the game that he mentioned?
Magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, Magic,
it's
right.
Right, Mike, do you know that game?
I know of it. I've never actually played it.
Yeah, but he said if we're 13, I would have played with you, and we'd be great friends. But now I'm a big boy, so it's no more about that. Now it's about running a business and making money. And I'm not better than you as a person. I'm better at my job.
And I think it really crushed Rudy when he said, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure I give you a great baby gift. Appropriate.
And you know what's so funny? It reminded me of Taylor, him saying that, because I think he meant it.
Oh, he did.
He wasn't insulting him. He's like, but I will get you, because on a personal level, I like you personally, so I will buy you a really nice baby present.
If I'm Rudy, is that what I want to hear from you?
No, but I think they're so about the numbers. Yeah. Taylor is, and I think that it's very congruent with her company and in that mindset. But I think it was big steps in the right direction for him. And listen, Rudy's not someone you should hire. You know what I mean? He made stupid decisions in the last episode. We saw him outed, and anyway, I thought that was a big moment. And then it was interesting when Ben Kim ends up. So going back up, I know Ben Kim works with Tuck. Tuck is a Ben Kim underling that we get to meet, and has family working in the cleaning company.
Yes.
So I guess we're backing up a little bit. When we're at the Axe, Wendy and Ari and the Wags meeting, we're talking about, should we be moving toward revenge, or should we be moving toward taking in new ideas to invest in. And Axe says, yeah, well, plenty of ideas, but they all suck. It's funny, typical Axe. And how funny is it when they shoot away Ari? And how much funnier is Ari getting every week?
Well, he's kind of like the what?
Comic relief.
But the cousin that you invite to Christmas dinner, but you're hoping he doesn't show up, but you're going to put up with him anyways,
Exactly.
you know?
And by the way, I hope,
take him
but
serious.
as an audience member, I hope we put up with him in perpetuity.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
we need
so
it. It's
good,
lighthearted.
so
it's
funny.
comic relief.
But it's Wags who astutely says, you know what? Let's find out what Rebecca's investing in.
And
that just
Wags.
follows suit. Yes, it's Wags.
That's
And Axe says,
Brilliant.
you know me so well.
Brilliant.
So we come to learn that she's investing in, she's got this cleaning company, and this is what leads us to, okay, well, who's their competitor, and how do we knock out their competitor? And Ben Kim does some due diligence. He gets us Tuck, who works at the company. Tuck, who's so nervous to be sitting with Bobby, let alone now they have to send him undercover to go work as a cleaning person.
Gosh.
For the corrupt cleaning company.
I thought he was going to blow it.
Yeah, but you know what? He came through. So, and I think it'll be funny to see him as the season goes on. But I thought it was interesting how Ben Kim with Axe, when Axe says, "Go give him an attaboy." And Ben was like,
yeah.
"You didn't give me an attaboy for 3 years." And he's like, "Well, then don't. Just tell him, just he got paid, move on." And then what I thought was pretty cool about Axe, he's like, "No, okay, do whatever you want. He's your guy." So kind of similar to what Taylor said. So I did. Mike, did you pick that up?
Yeah, I like when Taylor called Rudy a mascot. That was funny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. So you again. She was like, I know he's a mascot, but if you're my lieutenant, I'm going to empower you to do the job, but it's going to be on you.
You're going to hire the mascot? You're going to...
But up to you.
Yeah.
You make that call. Yeah. But a new wave, that to me is millennial speak.
The whole...
Whereas old school would have said, he's a mascot, he's a moron, you're not bringing him into the company, period, end of story. Anyway, this finally leads to a date between Rebecca and Axe, and of course, it's pretty hot and heavy. And we learn about her. He's pulling information out. He gets I want to partner with you, but I love a couple of her lines. I think are very key, and this is what was I think interesting about how women and men are different in business. She says to him, "I won't carry your water," meaning like, I'm not going to give you free information. And he's like, no, I don't want that. I want a partner. And she's like, I don't want a partner. And it just stuns him, because he's used to everyone coming to her. And I thought that was cool, but I thought it was most interesting when he said, you men, you won't support us in business, or you won't, when I go to raise capital, you didn't help me, you got in my way, but now that I've made it, now you want a piece.
Mm-hmm. And she's obviously a brilliant lady, and Bobby has met his match in her, I feel.
He absolutely has met his match.
However, I was kind of surprised at how vulnerable she made herself be with Bobby.
In what way? That's interesting. So what way? I want to hear this.
Being this tough billionaire entrepreneur, playing with the big boys and all, and setting him straight, and then all of a sudden is like
in bed with him. You mean? Okay.
He lays on the charm, and she kind of just lets her guard down.
Okay, but and I think this gets into where Bonnie and Wendy were, or was it her choice as a woman to say, you know what? Now we're doing business. I'm going to shut that off. And you're a good-looking guy, and I'm a young woman, and we connect, and we're having some drinks, and I want to have some fun, and we've had our fun. You know what I mean? So I thought I took it like not a power move, but that she had more of a security within her that could do that.
Like I'm a big girl.
Yeah, so
play with the big boys, and if I want to
have sex,
I feel like doing,
I'm attracted to you, and I want to have a fun night, and we're going to have it, but. The reason I think that it came from a place of strength is that she, other than the fact that she let him buy into a piece of her business for 1.5 times the rate. So she did make profit off it initially. I don't feel like she was weakened. In fact, when she ends up finding out why he was doing it as an act of revenge, that's when she charges in and she and shows a different side. But I thought I thought it was super interesting about her history in business. So it seems like she comes from the Home Shopping Network or something like that.
Yeah,
it seems like it.
Gosh, okay.
And it was very interesting, Axe's cynical take on it, where he thought, yeah, when you worked there, you hoarded all the best products. You didn't put them on the air or invest in them.
Yeah.
Broke away, started your own company with those products, and that's how you made it.
Right.
And her thing was, was saying like, no, I actually got a lot of pushback for everything I did over there, and the products I did put out there did make them money, but I was not rewarded for it, and I was, which I've seen a lot in business, and she even says
learned.
when they sued me, she's like, they didn't win, So
Yeah.
when I got sued in court for in a class action suit, I was found innocent. So I think she really found a more honest way of making money in a more ethical way. And I know with I was wondering in the moment, and I guess it answers its own question about with I thought when she hears about Taylor, is there any sense of girl power there where she was sticking up for another woman initially, or did she just not like being manipulated?
She just didn't like being manipulated. She did not want Bobby to right away, oh, you playing me,
Right.
You playing me.
And that's what it was.
Yeah. So she's setting her own rules. She's going to be a very interesting character as time goes, but we'll see if I haven't yet felt that in this episode that she's like all about girl power yet.
Gotcha.
So we'll see.
And I think you're right. I think it's right now just a female means of doing business, and I think we'll get to see the difference, how men do business and how women do business. And I love that she felt played and then demanded back. Okay, if you still want to work with me, then I need all of this back. And here's the thing. Axe agrees to this deal because, again, and I will get out of your way to take on Taylor. So he agrees to a pretty crappy deal and is, again, just for revenge.
Yeah.
So it speaks to Zugzwang, that German thing. It was like where you're making a move that's putting you in a weaker position.
There you go. She said she'd get out of his way.
Mike, what do you
so
think?
He could go for Taylor, so.
Well, Wags tried to warn Bobby against that. Remember, he said the street is going to start wondering if you care more about revenge than making money.
Right. And this is where it's going. Right?
Her and Bobby are billionaires with benefits.
Billionaires with benefits. I like that.
Mega benefits.
Mega
Right,
benefits.
Right.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of them. It will be interesting. Man, what a power couple they would be. It would be interesting to see. Do you think that this is a power couple that goes the distance, or do you think they turn into enemies?
Well,
They're probably going to end up being
it's
enemies.
like
Enemies, you think, Mike?
it's like that analogy. Growing up, your parents might say, "Don't jump in bed with somebody so quick," or you
Right.
know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She kind of jumped in bed with him so quick, but we went through the fact that she's a grown woman.
Yeah, I just think
and
that
she
was
can
social.
Do whatever. But why do you think she was so quick to want allow him to buy part of her business? Why do you think? And she
I don't know.
really know him.
Well, true, but he said, I think he's known around, and he did offer 1.5 times. I mean, it was kind of a good deal. That's a great question, though.
Okay.
If she's smart, no, you're right. Virginia, it's a great question. Mike, why do you think that she let him buy into the business?
Well, I don't think she's happy with him after she found out about the revenge.
Well, I
against
think after the fact, but initially, Virginia makes a good point. She's such a kick-ass businesswoman. Why did she, when they went out for drinks, why did she allow him to buy in? Do you think the 1.5 times the asking price was enough?
a position of vulnerability.
Well, yeah.
She
I
did
said
have.
she
All
was
right.
vulnerable.
So she did have. So you think there was some vulnerability there?
I mean, she didn't get to be a billionaire by being stupid or soft.
Right. So then why would she have bought in? Do you think maybe maybe, who knows? Maybe she thinks she can make money with Axe
Maybe
then.
she has an angle that we have yet to see.
You're very interesting.
You know?
You're right.
Who
There
knows?
There could be. Okay. Let's move on to one of my favorite parts of tonight, which was the Wendy and Bonnie meeting. But how even that got set up with Ari creeping on people's emails.
Right.
And I just love how Wendy handles him. She said, cut the shit with that stuff. He's pretending he's doing due diligence for the company. Yeah. But he's just creeping on women's email.
Just being a snoop. But I don't know. That just really reinforces the fact that people need to be careful about the emails they send at work. Millennials.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Careful.
No. That's all. Yeah,
all of us.
You have a company email address. Forget it. Yeah, you're culpable. But I love how she draws the line between what's secure for the company and what's just being a creep. But then they find out that Bonnie's having a birthday and they're not invited. Yeah. And so Wendy is like, basically is like, let's go. And I love
crash it.
She turns to him and goes, shut up. Just like, you can come, but don't say another word. And I thought when he ever entered that party and Brick House is playing.
Oh my God.
The adults are here to partay.
Yes. I'm like, oh my God, get him a drink
He's
quick, somebody,
And there's Dollar Bill, by the way, his choice of song.
Yeah.
And it's great because Bonnie goes, I thought you would be playing Steely Dan, which is more classic rock guy stuff, rather than like a 70s disco or 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
I think 60s probably is. No, 70s, early 70s.
That.
Commodore's the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
the disco
I'm
era.
dating myself.
Yeah. No, I'm there too. That's my childhood. I get it. But having that playing was just, I love the subtleties. And then do you know how Dollar Bill was filling everybody's drinks?
Yes.
But with his own flask. So he's in this restaurant, and even though, he's not a billionaire, but he's a multi-millionaire. Right. But he's Dollar Bill for a reason. He sneaks in his own flask to add extra alcohol to his drinks and other people's drinks.
And I bet it's
to save money.
Good stuff.
Yeah, well, if he's doing that, I don't know if it's good stuff. It might just be like,
I would think if you're gonna sneak a flask into a club, you better have some good stuff in there.
But then again, if your name's Dollar Bill, right? Okay. I just thought it was, again, a little funny, subtle touch, just character development. It's a show, don't tell. And then wasn't it funny did you see when the music changed? Yeah. I think it was, I don't know if it was 10,000 Maniacs or if it was Edie Brickell and the Bohemians or one of those like 90s female-driven songs. And Ben Kim's like, I picked this one.
Like, woohoo, good for you, good one.
And so here's Bonnie.
Good choice.
Who's definitely a tough chick. She's a tough girl.
Different type of character.
Who's had to now take on the facade of a male to have been successful in her business, and she kind of unleashes that. A couple other things came out in this. I learned what COAT is. I never heard of that before.
Oh gosh, I wrote it down because chance of action.
Chance of action tonight.
I'm like,
so they're all engaging in deep kind of like guy barroom talk, and they test Wendy, and she jumps right in and gets them all laughing.
When they ask Wendy, like, okay, when you want sex,
right?
Do you get it, or?
And she's like, basically says,
effing whatever I want, so.
But Bonnie, she's just saying, come on, you guys, we just want to get railed. And I mean, it was just very male-like. And
it was.
Her and Wendy, definitely have their eye on each other, and not in a sexual way, but in a respect way.
There's something.
You think so?
What if, I don't know. That
would
be a twist.
You know what? Could you see that?
Yeah, I could, because Wendy is displaying some kind of worry, or she's not Wendy. It seems like she's vulnerable too, because everybody else is coming at her, asking her questions.
Right.
When she's the one that normally is she's in control, don't get me wrong, but I see where, that could happen.
I didn't even think of that. You know what? But where we see her go to have sex with Chuck, and I don't know. It looks like the first time we've ever seen them almost do missionary, where she's going to allow herself to be the female, have him be on top of her, and she's into it, and it's like starting up, and all of a sudden he's like, no, I want to get in the box, and she's like, sigh, and then obviously the whips and the chains come out, and he's sleeping peacefully, and she's just staring out the window, because I feel like she's really thinking about the roles of men and women, and maybe embracing her feminine side, and not being able to with him. And Regina, you may just really have hit something, because ironically, Bonnie can deliver the masculine
look
side
at the
that
way
she's not getting.
Sitting.
Well, right. So
when
we have
she
this.
Was sitting in front
that's
of
right.
Wendy during the session.
The sit down, her legs are wide open with pants on. Not done in the Sharon Stone way, but in the way of just like, yeah, what's up? What are we talking about? And you know why Bonnie's so astute is when Wendy tries to tell her, listen, we're here for you. And she interrupts her like, really?
Yeah.
No, you're here for you.
Yeah.
Bonnie knew, Wendy, you're studying me because you're missing something in your life.
Yes. And the metaphor about running.
Yeah. And so,
I love that.
So, yes. So talking about that, that's where Bonnie dropped her guard.
Yes.
Where she said, like where Wendy just kept picking, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with like
what do you do when
being
you go
like a
home?
Viking, drinking and partying and being with the men and banging heads with them? Well, I want to just go home and drink myself into oblivion, but I don't. I run, so she gets the high.
Until I forget.
And then what does she do after she forgets, Regina? She goes back to the office to work.
Yeah.
And so that was a moment of like, oh, wow. Like you could see where Bonnie, the mask fell off. And it was like, yeah, basically, this is what I have to do, or she believes she has to do to be successful in that business. And it was definitely a moment.
Yeah, so
it was definitely a moment. And
we'll
when
have to watch.
Well, at the end of
interaction.
Well, at the end of the scene, at the end of the show, we see what we see Wendy running. Wow. So there's gonna be more there. Moving on to Taylor. So it's very interesting over at Team Taylor. We see her relationship with Sarah developing. Sarah is clearly very, very fond of her, and whether it's sexual or not,
she wants to please her.
She does, and she seems like she cares, and she's worried. Listen, I'm all in on this show, as you can tell. I have papers everywhere. I'm very obsessed with the show. It feels like their relationship for me is going a little fast. I almost wish she was a friend from college or someone they'd worked.
That had a backstory.
A little bit for them to be so instant.
Connection.
Because I can see this coming a mile away. This is going to be her wags, her like right hand person.
We really don't know about Sarah though. Where does she come from? Is she somebody that Grigor hired, or?
I just,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know what? In writing, they usually say you look for a tell. So something that where there's like that little glare or something, and she looks like she's really focused on Taylor and Taylor's well-being. Mike, what are your thoughts on Sarah, the COO, in Taylor?
I don't really know where she came from yet.
So So you like Regina? Do you think that there could be something more there?
Last week she was happy to answer the phone in the middle of the night.
I told you.
Yeah, but that's true. But isn't it because she's so loyal? But that's what my problem is like she's loyal too fast, and I think that's a little bit of weakness in writing, unless it's you guys are right.
Skepticism.
But unless you guys are right, maybe there's something more going on here.
She is just making herself so available, like Taylor and the company is her whole life. All of a sudden, she's just come. And
so do you think that is suspect, or do you think that's just how she is?
It's suspect.
Interesting. Mike, what do you think? Suspect or just how she is?
Too good to be true.
You're on to something, suspect.
Wow. Okay.
It's too good to be true.
See, and I think it's because I think the way they're painting it is that she just really, really super, super admires Taylor, and completely infatuated with her, which is fine.
Ooh.
I just think it's a little too fast. But
maybe because it's a new company, she's on the ground floor. Maybe she's trying to go out of her way.
to to get to make her mark. I mean, listen, she's the COO, so everything does go through her. So
Well, in that regard, and then we can move on, Kevin, I would say then she's going to really make herself indispensable in every way that she feels Taylor needs her. And I am kind of going to say and think, I know it's too early for predictions. I'll save it for the end.
all right, okay, all right. No, that's all right. And you know what? And as you say it to
Suspense.
me, I guess she would be doing this to endear herself to, because that is her job. And I feel like there's a connection there. I feel like I don't know how Taylor feels about her, but I feel like she's falling in love with Taylor. I just feel it. That's where I think this is going.
I think Taylor's wheels are spinning so fast with Grigor and Bobby after her.
Yeah, they're not thinking about anything.
She's not
but
even looking at that.
No. They're not. But I think that not Bonnie. I think Sarah is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we see Taylor practicing some Tai Chi, and Grigor enters in. By the way, after Taylor has been denied all these loans, but she's offered a koozie by our friends over at Patriot Bank or whatever it is.
The Kozlov brothers.
Well, they're coming.
Okay, yeah,
But
okay.
Taylor's doing Tai Chi. Grigor interrupts for his visit. And it's interesting how Grigor is like, oh, yeah, I've done Tai Chi. I've done all this before, but I just find that brute force at the end of the day is what works best. And again, to me, that's the very male way. That's that robot punching his way through the door. But, brute force doesn't always have the positive consequences,
No, not at all.
the positive results. And I
Right.
feel like, when we go back to that German philosophy of Zugzwang, or that German term, I feel it's like these guys are making these brute force moves, but it's putting them in weaker positions. But he comes in and says, listen, I have these friends of mine. They'll help you, the Kozlov brothers. And
She's suspicious.
she's
right away.
suspicious because she knows she knows what she's dealing with. We see in the following scene, we see a new security person, like her version of Hall. And I didn't catch his name.
No, I
But
didn't.
he just gave her the facts. He said these two Kozlov brothers are basically less rich, more dangerous versions of Grigor. In fact, they'll do the killings on their own. And they laid out so much about them that I feel like we will see these guys again. But when he leaves the room, interesting, Taylor says, I like him because he didn't pitch himself. He didn't offer advice as to what to do. Trying to kind of mansplain
Show off or be like,
or mansplain, be
yeah.
like, no, this is what you need to do, sweetie pie. He just gave her the facts. He gave Taylor the facts, and Taylor likes that because she's very logical
or he
in her thinking.
respected
Yes.
her position of
And
being
by the way,
boss.
and also his view of his own position.
Yes.
This is what you pay me for.
Exactly.
So he's very much into the facts, and you pay me this amount, and I give you the facts, and that's it. And if you ask me for more, I will give it to you, but not until then. So
He didn't cross the line.
he didn't cross the line. So I think he'll be another knight in her as she's building. As Taylor's building their army.
Right.
Sarah is a very loyal COO and a smart one, and I didn't catch this guy's name, so maybe in the replay you'll see it. But her security guard, he seems like he's more than up for the job, and we see Miffy is growing as a lieutenant. So I think things are setting up nicely for them. But we realize, okay, we have to do something with these Kozlovs, and this is where the term Zugzwang comes up, and she even jokes, Taylor jokes that she was going to name the company that, which I thought was funny.
Right.
But anyway, the two working together, Sarah and Taylor, and I think it was more Taylor, but Sarah got it. Sarah was the one who said, this isn't a chess game, meaning it's not us against one other person.
Right.
There's a lot going on
There's
here.
a board here.
Yeah, let's not think of it
Lot
that
of
way.
players.
Probably, and that's probably, who knows, there's probably some connection between that and Magic the Gathering, knowing the writings on this show symbolically. But when we think about the bigger board, it was, okay, let's get the Kozlovs to say no to the deal.
And it worked. Well, it kind of worked.
It did work. No. It worked. But talk about all the moves it took. And again, again, Taylor played Axe.
Yeah.
and Axe did the Zugzwang, where
Exactly
he made
what she wanted
he made a
him to do.
move that made him weaker.
Yeah. And then
You know, because it forced Axe to make a deal with this Patriot Nation bank of
right.
boobs.
Yes.
He already invested in
In
a
that
crappy robot company,
robotics.
and then the bank manager, whoever we're going to call this guy,
Yeah.
probably a bank president, says, "Oh yeah, and I'm going to need these couple of favors."
yes.
So now he's in deeper, all for revenge.
Well, he wants Axe to make them the main bank for the Axe Capital, right?
yes.
That's what he asked them.
Yeah, and he's like, "Well, I'll consider
have
it."
the account.
And again, so do you really want these morons with your money? I don't think so. And this is what revenge gets you. And I think this is Taylor outmaneuvering Axe to put him in this position. Super smart.
Yeah.
And for the so the Kozlovs take themselves out of the equation
Well, we think so
for now.
anyways,
Well, they're
yeah.
out of this part of the equation.
Yeah, right.
But this precipitates a meeting between Taylor and Grigor.
Yes.
And Taylor's scared, and Sarah's petrified. And this is going to be a do or die meeting.
Over
Interestingly,
vodka shots.
oh, but that's what was interesting. Again, we go to how men do business.
Yes.
And he's pouring these big glasses,
Stiff.
and they're like pounding drinks together in a way that, to me, it looked like Grigor was bonding or trying to bond with her.
And let's face it, the average woman, well, I'll speak for myself.
Please,
I could
Regina.
I could
And you are not average.
I could not do that. Thank you, Kevin. I could not be,
Pounding drinks.
no, definitely not vodka like that.
And Taylor holds their own drinking with him, but it was interesting at the end when he toasted to her. He said, "Only God knows why." And I didn't know if he was thinking himself like, I don't know why I'm going along with this, because the old me would have
Gotten rid of her.
yes. Yeah, would have said this is not worth the trouble, or there's
you're
something.
done.
The old me would have done that, but or does he really not know why
No.
he's going along with this deal? But I thought that was interesting. Like, only God knows why I'm going along with this.
I think he appreciates the fact in his own way that she took matters into her own hands.
And
To control
and
the
probably
scenario.
respected him
Outcome.
for quoting Kid Rock, but basically saying like, I will work with you. You will be my kind of number one creditor, but you will not own me.
No.
You will not. That's not how this is going to work.
Yes.
And I feel that he, as like a Russian male, he liked that.
Right.
You know,
for
he
now, anyways.
Yes.
He's dealing with it for now, but
For now, well,
that guy's got it.
he's not long for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
he's long.
Oh, no.
He might be long for the series, but he's not long for any kind of alliance with. He's going wherever the money is. I think.
And he's going to make sure at the end of the day that he comes out on top.
Oh yeah, always. Well, by the
doesn't
way,
care
if we're gonna be consistent with these characters to be billionaires, all the billionaires that are on this show are always gonna do their best to come out on top. No, it seems like it, no matter what.
Yeah, and
What's that? Ah, wow! Look at this! Oh my goodness, you guys! The time flew. You guys, I'm gonna run to. My goodness. Well. And we didn't even get to Chuck. How
What
did we
a
not do
great
that?
show.
But wait a second.
That was so exciting.
Okay, Chuck makes a deal with the police commissioner, and then he meets with Axe, and you can see he likes the fact that Axe is being stretched, so he goes and gets the girl to stretch him.
Yeah.
But it was great to see Team Chuck kind of step up.
And Chuck finagled his way to
As he
what
always
he's
does.
wanted the whole time.
But I loved when he got tough. You got to see the old Chuck come out and be ballsy and brash. And now he's running for Attorney General.
Attorney General.
And interesting enough, at the San Gennaro feast of all places, this is, if you know Italian culture, this has been featured in the Godfather movies. It's always a big part of life, but it always seems like it factors in with revenge. and politics and power. So very interesting that it took place there. And you saw the nice look between Chuck and Axe, like where they gave.
They're still.
Yeah, I helped you. You helped
Best
me.
buds.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Yeah, God, I wish we had more time because we would talk about that. You know, for the millennial translator, you guys, I will put it up on our YouTube page if you want to check that out. And then Regina, quickly, can you give us some news items?
Well, here's some news right quickly. You know, time flies when we were having so much fun. But creator Brian Koppelman, this is a quote from him. He says, "Here's the truth. These first 2 episodes of season 4 are a warm-up. Episodes 3 and 4 are among the best in the whole series, and they are coming right up."
Oh, wow.
So stay tuned for that. It's getting even better.
That's big words.
Yeah.
3 and next 2 episodes, biggest of the series.
Yes. Don't want to miss those.
Okay, and do we have anything else in the news? I know, like, we're getting a wrap from the booth.
Well, Paul Giamatti was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert this week, and he was talking about how he gets in the mood for some of his S&M scenes. They give him a big rubber band. He puts it on his thigh. It's real tight, and he just pulls it. The director just has it pull it. It pops up against the skin, and he said it hurts like hell.
And that just puts him in
that puts him in that mood.
Wow. And then we had one more news item, and I thought this was really cool about the character of Kate.
Well, Kate, who was played by Condola Richard, comes from a very interesting entertainment family background. Her mom, of course, is Claire Huxtable.
Wow.
Actress Felicia Rashad. Her dad is NFL great Ahmad Rashad, who played for the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
Her aunt is Debbie Allen, choreographer and also actress on Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
And Debbie's husband is Los Angeles Lakers great Norm Nixon. Retired, of course.
Wow, so this is royalty.
I
didn't even know that.
And she got her start on Broadway.
Well, yeah, she's legit. She's got the chops.
Absolutely.
Regina, good job on the news. Where do we find you?
Well, you find me at Regina E. Cole's Instagram.
Nice. I'm at Undergaro, and Nadine will be back next week. I'm sure she's going to be tuning into this week as well. You guys, please, will you rate and comment over on iTunes for us? Do the same at YouTube. And I will get you my millennial translations. Michael Klaus, thank you so much. Mike August, thank you so much for sitting in with us. And Mike, also, I'm going to have you send some of your, you're always good at picking up the symbolism, so will you be so kind as to upload some stuff on YouTube for us?
Okay.
Thumbs up.
Mike, that's nice. Okay, you guys, until then, we'll see you next week for Billions.
Bye-bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.